This is how the Manosphere fooled an entire generation. After nearly 2 decades of grifting, scamming, and lies from the internet's most popular high-value men, only now are we starting to clearly see the facade and scamming behind every single one of the Red Pill movement's figures, and how men can soar beyond the Manosphere with livable, generative ideas. The Manosphere scam is comprised of 2 generations, the Rollo Tomassi TRP era and the Andrew Tate Escape the Matrix era, followed by a lingering self-improvement movement. All 3 are different versions of the same cash grab. Disenfranchised men desperately searching for role models who have it all, so they can pay their way out of misery and repress the decline in Western dating culture. Generation 1, rational males. Rollo Tomassi was the godfather of the Manosphere. Rollo Tomassi authored The Rational Male, a book which was to some an enlightening approach to gender dynamics and dating advice, but in reality was a pseudo-intellectual cash grab that encouraged loser men to indefinitely submerge themselves in a cheap, baseless approach to relationships from a man whose regimen for, quote, becoming a high-value man starts with avoiding marriage, not starting a family, and getting a vasectomy in your 20s. What really was the rational male? The Rational Male was a con man's attempt to compile together $15 worth of 8th grade level blog posts to appeal to incels and unsuccessful men. The book featured genius presentations of concepts like plate theory and the feminine imperative, both non-existent concepts that were only meant to be free advertisement for Rollo's book. This set the theme of the Red Pill constantly inventing terms and ideas that held no weight anywhere outside of podcasts and subreddits. This trend continues today, and millions of men parrot phrases like hypergamy ad nauseum. In reality, this attitude of pretending to offer insight explains the existence and perpetuation of the Manosphere. It is a method for experienced grifters to amass as much cash and clout as possible from the darkest corners of the internet, while providing as little actual value as they can for their followers. This was confirmed with the fall of the first-generation Manosphere gurus and the appearance of the Escape the Matrix movement.
I'm not too stubborn and walk back from it because the point of it was to get douche nozzles like yourself to have this conversation in the first place.
How old are you, bro? Bro, do you have anything to say? Why are you staring like that, man? Okay.
No, I'll be happy to fucking debate you, dude, on any topic you want.
We are right now.
Generation 2, Escape the Matrix. The next generation of Manosphere gurus was a lot more cynical than the last. By this time, Red Pill truisms like, she's not yours, it's just your turn, as well as phrases like plates and cold approaching, already passed through the mainstream. The issue was, no one outside of the fossilized first-generation conmen still believed in Red Pill messaging. At this point, everyone had given up. There were no new concepts, phrases, or ideas. Podcasters and dating gurus like Whatever and Fresh and Fit were too busy grifting their way through the internet with rehashed rage porn to provide new content. The only thing left to do was to try to extract as much money as possible from the next generation of unhappy men. All the while, the new age Manosphere was captured by its newest con artist, Andrew Tate.
We are living inside of the Matrix, and I am Morpheus.
Tate, an experienced internet conman, found the Manosphere and used it as his next profit source. By combining wealthy lifestyle promotions with his army of teenage editors, he took over the internet long enough to make $6 million per month from his Discord scam. Hustlers University, now rebranded to The Real World. The self-proclaimed most dangerous man in the world captured the gaze and labor capacity of the 13 to 18-year-old boys suffering through the 2020s drought of edgy content. By ramping up his controversy, he was able to flood middle school classrooms with cheap misogyny and parroted phrases. This fame grew his scams tenfold, making him the latest Manosphere guru to fool his followers into millions while giving them nothing in return. Self-improvement. This video wouldn't be complete without talking about the self-improvement and looks max movement. Existing in the same Manosphere, self-improvement became the Red Pill light, specifically pulling in teenage boys via duplicated content creators and no-fap gurus. People like Hamza shepherd these young men to destruction by poisoning their teen dating experience with the mental checklist of activities.
I'm gonna walk you through the 17 laws of self-improvement, and you need to know all of these.
The average self-improvement consumer consumer weighs themselves down with a list of guidelines to follow to hopefully improve their dating success. In reality, their attention is funneled for advertising revenue by creators who could care less about helping their viewers as long as they collect a paycheck. The beliefs of these figures are all connected to a single underlying error: the idea that relationship success, dating, and otherwise is a matter of ticking boxes and following rules.
Things that a high-value man should never do in a social setting. I don't want y'all looking like some beta male chumps, so just make sure you follow this little list I got.
These figures aim to turn personal development into RPG video game development, where people find them desirable once their face, posture, and voice skills are maxed out. This creates a never-ending quest, which in turn creates never-ending views and monthly subscriptions. This makes these creators millions of dollars as their fans complete all the tasks required to get the life they desire without ever actually getting it. What's always ignored is the lack of meaningful relationships and families that Manosphere figures have. Despite the endless parroting about masculinity and anti-promiscuity, very few of these figures, no matter how wealthy they are bearable enough to have lasting relationships leading to families. The question is, why? The reason is that most of these influencers have shaped their outlook on women through traumatic experiences in their past relationships. Divorces, cheating, and significant events poked at their deepest insecurities, forcing them to create a mechanical facade to avoid putting themselves in a vulnerable position. Rather than trying to actually understand women or themselves, they invented a defensive new character for themselves forged by the doctrine of alpha rules. What these gurus profit from the most is omitting the existence of a person's intangible qualities, parts of someone's personality that no amount of lifting or money can alter. There is no rulebook for copy-pasting someone else's personality. There is only the development of your own characteristics. Fake it until you make it will always be promoted by the Manosphere. Not because it is a positive and beneficial way of acting, but because these gurus and their thousands of clones have to fake their personalities, styles, and character online, something that well-adjusted people automatically pick up on in real life. In conclusion, there is no end to the lies and scams that surround dating and gender dynamics. The Manosphere isn't a solid object, but an indefinite series of attempts by con men to utilize people's insecurities to make a buck. The lesson is to pay attention to the results of someone's ideas before you accept the ideas themselves. If people saw how these people really lived, they'd think twice about copying Anthony Johnson, Rollo Tomasi, or Andrew Tate.